Good morning. Happy Saturday. I have been thinking about yes and no. And there's that idea, that no is a complete answer, which is beautiful. And I think yes is a complete answer as well. And I just have been thinking about how when I have these inspirations and ideas and creative urges, I've just been kind of working with that and how to prioritize, I guess. And I think sometimes some of the criteria I use to make those decisions, I'm kind of second guessing in this sort of like, but yes is a complete answer kind of way. Like I'm not digging in, I guess. I'm not looking for an embodied yes. I'm justifying my yes. Like, okay, I mean, this is all kind of vague. I have an idea, and then I start thinking like, well, is it going to fit in with my other work? Is anyone going to want to like buy this eventually? Is this like marketable? Is this just like some weird one-off idea? And it's not that those aren't like valid questions, but I think that there's a time and a space when we need a sort of an experience of an unconditional yes, I guess. So anyway, I've just been thinking about yes and no. And, yes is like creative freedom. And, but it's also like sparkly new things that are a distraction from a bigger project that you're trying to do. A yes is uninhibited and it's exploratory, but like I said, it can also be a distraction. And, no can be discernment. It can be prioritizing. It can be checking in with your identity and making art that's you. It's mastery. In order to master something, you have to like kind of say no to other ways of doing things. And there's just this sort of like, that's not me, or that's not good. There's some judgment in there. And so there's obviously a place for both yes and no in our creative practice. But I think that there needs to be, like I said, a place for an unqualified yes. We need a time in our creative practice when we're not discerning, we're not editing, that we're playful and exploring. And I think as we start to master things, we allow less and less of that for ourselves. We we want to show that we're learning. We don't want to be like little kids anymore, just scribbling with a crayon, or, like there's all of these ways, all of these other ways of being creative that we don't allow ourselves. Like, maybe you feel judgmental about crafts or about wine and paint parties, or about using certain kinds of materials, or only doing realism or abstraction. We have all of these things that we decide are not us. And we have to. I mean, there's like so many ways of being an artist. We can't be all of them, but all of those potentials are within us. And when we say no to them, we say no to the benefits that they bring. And I think sometimes we need to reevaluate that. I think we make a lot of decisions about who we are as artists, and then is that still you? or is that a past you? Like, what do you want to bring forward into who you are now as an artist? And and sometimes we come home to things. I know for myself, as I have talked about, I felt the need to explore abstraction for a while because my old way of generating imagery felt stale. It was so powerful when it wasn't stale. Like I was using expressive arts, kind of these sort of archetypal spirit guide images, and it was powerful healing work. It changed me. That work changed me and matured me and helped me to grow and helped me to understand myself. And then you know, like a coconut being brought to shore. It's like, okay, here you are. That is all healed now. Go do something else. And I just, it's been like 6 years of me trying to, you know, figure out. And so that meant that I had to start saying yes to all of these things, which meant spending a lot of money on art supplies and saying yes to any class that caught my eye and opening myself up to other ways of working. Like I really had a lot of judgment about certain styles of art that, and a lot of it was because I felt like the people who made art in that style were judging me. So it was just sort of like, me. And I had to say, you know what? I'm a different person now. It needs to be okay for me to become anything. And if that means working in this style that I have always put down, I'm going to need to maybe, explore that, or at least give myself permission to be a completely different way so that I can continue evolving. And I think there's like this fear, like, oh, if I let myself work this way, I'm going to become like that other type of artist, and I judge that, so I'm not going to go there. And I think that deserves to be poked at. And I think like the ones, like there's so many different ways of being an artist, and we pick certain ones that we're like, oh yuck, no, I'm not that. I mean, maybe you don't, but I do. And the ones that I choose to say I'm not that, like what's going on there? Like there's some like shadow work there to be done. And it doesn't mean, as I have discovered, that I am destined to become some artist that the younger me would scoff at. But there's some push-pull there. And what is it that's, there's something attracting me to that style of art. I'm being so careful not to say what it is. Because I don't want anyone to be like, oh, she said this style of art that I am. Like, no, like my judgmental self is like, needs to be not given all of the words. I interrupted myself. What was I saying? Yeah. So, I pick a certain style of art that I'm like, I'm not that kind of art, all of the judgments, but there's a reason why I am picking that of all of the styles to say that about. And either there's something familiar in there, or there's a part of me that's like, oh, but this would be nice. Like I'm attracted to that way of working, or that way of looking at the world, or those colors, or whatever it is. There's something that part of me wants to explore and deserves to explore. So I think that if you're feeling stuck, if you're not feeling stuck, just go. But if you're feeling stuck, or you're, maybe you're going through a major life transition, like I'm in menopause now, my children are adults. I'm just at this certain place where the way I worked when I was younger, like I don't have those problems anymore. And, who am I as an artist now? And that's sometimes means looking at other ways of making art that you might have judged before for reasons that have nothing to do with the art and everything to do with like never trust someone over 30 or something like that, like, oh, that's, like that we when we're younger, we judge certain kinds of art because it's done by older people or by people who are just, have different values than us or whatever it is. So there's that. And then I think there's also, though, what I'm experiencing is like a homecoming, that I gave myself permission to completely move away from how I was working before. And it's sort of purified what I want to take forward about that, which is something I'm still figuring out. But when we're trying to grow as artists and we don't want to stay safe, like, am I staying safe, or is that who I am as an artist? Is that like a key part of my artistic identity? And that's like a whole other topic, so I don't think I'm going to explore that now. But start thinking about what you say yes to and what you say no to, especially the ones that are like a full-bodied yes and a full-bodied no. And if you're feeling stuck in your art, or like you're just kind of spinning your wheels, like really take a look at those strong no's, and there might be some magic in there. Bye. Have a great Saturday.